Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at, ladies and gents. I am Kura Isagami, and I'm very pleased to announce the beginning of a new overhaul for the Medarot News Network. From here forward, do expect to see a much more engaging presentation when it comes to my weekly news and updates, an overall fresher look to the presentations in general with a new face and design, as well as even more possibilities in the future thanks to recent developments and reveals. I'm very excited to see what the future holds for myself and the channel. But before we go further, I suppose I probably should take a moment to make a proper introduction and debut of myself. So with that being said, without further ado, shall we go ahead and get started? So of course, the first question is, who am I? Simply put, I'm just a mere tinkerer and Medarotter who decided to help to translate a lot of the recent news, especially with Medarot S, or even just stuff related to the game in general, or the series, into English for a lot of the Western fans. As with a lot of previous games, we have been kind of left out of the loop, unfortunately, due to the language barrier. Well, I decided to change that one day, and even though I may not be super proficient in Japanese myself, I wanted to at least do what I can to help, and do what I can to at least help present it in a way that the Western community can know what's going on and at least stay up to date, which, of course, was the founding and creation of the Medarot News Network. Prior to the creation of the YouTube channel officially, I more often than not simply focused on the updates and news with the Medarot S game, and I still do, more or less, but I focused more on actually trying to post it in a Discord format in a pinged message every week. And it did work for a time, but unfortunately, it did also kind of limit me in what I was allowed to do, as of course Discord at that point only allowed up to 2,000 characters per message, and then on top of that, I was limited, even after they increased it to 4,000 much later on. I still felt very limited and restricted in what I was able to do and how I was able to officially release that news. So hence made the use and utilization of a YouTube channel to help break down that news and give me much more freedom in how to actually go about releasing that news and talking about it in formats that people can understand and follow along, whether they actually watch the videos or just listen in on them as more like a podcast than anything else. The artist and rigger of my fantastic model, as you see here, I have to give a very special shout out to Smol Ducko, also known as Cotton Sweets. As you see here, the rigging is absolutely fantastic, and this is honestly the culmination of the several weeks I've been mentioning in previous videos, where I am very excited to make my presentations much more entertaining and engaging, no less, with the inclusion of a Live2D model. So I'm very excited to show you more and more of what this model can present and what it's capable of doing as videos are released. So I do want to give a shout out once again to Cotton Sweets, who is a rigger for this model. I will leave a link to her and her commission page in the comments below. On top of that, just kind of breaking down into the Medarots themselves, what are my top 3 favorites? Well, as you can kind of see by the background here, my top 3 would likely be KBT-0C Crotojill, the KBT starter from Medarot 5 back in the day. Favorite KWG would be Monjiro, or KWG-012. And then, ironically, I'd have to say SPI-05 Yak Spider very quickly became a favorite of mine, which I find rather ironic, honestly, because I don't necessarily care much for spiders, but at the same time, I just can't help but feel enamored and impressed with the overall design and kit when they created him. So if I have to crunch down to top 3 favorites, I would definitely mention it to these 3. The ultimate question as well is, how did I get into Medarot? Because I have seen that comment tossed about here and there in the Discord server, so I figured I may as well take a moment to explain it. And more or less, I got started in Medarot back in the day with Medarot Brave, or Metabots Infinity for the GameCube. My brother brought it home one day from the game store, and we tried it, and I absolutely fell in love with it, honestly. It was something I just couldn't put down. I just kept playing it over and over, and even if I didn't understand Medarot all that great at the time, it was definitely my first introduction to the series, as not long after that, we got a hold of the Game Boy game. A Rokusho version was my starter game, and then from there on the anime, and the rest is history, essentially. So quite a history, quite some tenure in the Medarot series. I'm very excited and very happy of how far I've come, especially up to this point now. I'm offering a channel now to help bring that news to Western fans like myself so we can stay in the know with the series. On top of that, with the addition of the channel, I will be adding a brand new hashtag to help make my videos easier to spot. So as you see here, you can find me on Twitter at isagamikura. You can also find my new hashtag at hashtag #MetaNews. So any particular updates, new videos, breakdowns that you see from my channel going forward, whenever I post them to Twitter, you look out for that hashtag. On top of that, you can also find my YouTube as well, for those that are just coming across my channel, at the Medarot News Network on Facebook. To go over it briefly, essentially all I do is take the weekly news that's announced on the official Medarot channel or on any other platform that they use, and I just kind of break it down into English for the Western community to understand. But with all that aside, I suppose that about does it for a general overview of myself and my channel. So I'm so happy to finally unveil a project with a lot of time and effort in the making at long last, and I'm equally as excited for what the future holds for myself and my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by, fellow Medarotters. Until next time, this is Kura Isagami of the Medarot News Network, signing out.